And then he turned to me and said, "It's not your time to die. I've still got things for you to do." And I thought, "Whoa, okay." And then I was sent back into my body. And the nurses there was like, "Oh, we're so glad you've come back because, we're trying to bring you back around and resuscitate you, but we couldn't, nothing was working."
Kev, where did you grow up, mate?
I grew up in Sheffield, and I spent most of my time there. And then in '98, I went to Taiwan for 10 years, then came back and ended up in Nottingham, then now Derby.
Yeah, moved about a bit.
Just a bit.
How was life for you growing up? Pretty good?
It was okay. My dad died when I was 5. My mum died when I was 16. So it was pretty tough. I got involved in the martial arts, so I was really good at that, and got to a blue belt standard. So I did karate, aikido, jiu-jitsu, tai chi, and so on one side I had a lot of power, but on the other side I was very broken and rejected. So I had these two sides. One was good, powerful and strong, and one was broken. So yes, it was. In school, I was bullied a lot, so that's why I got into the martial arts. So it was okay. Not the best childhood, but it was okay. Yeah.
So I want to focus in a bit on your story and
Yeah.
your sort of experiences through illness. But just before we kind of explore that, what was life like for you before you became ill? What were you doing? Where were you working? What was life like?
I'm a life coach, personal development. I'm a trainer, speaker. So I've been doing that. I was working either in schools, working with the children there, or with the neurodiverse, long-term unemployed. So I was doing that. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was because I love that interaction. I love that group sessions. I love the creativity and to see people change. So I was doing that beforehand. So that was good.
What were some of the early signs for you that things were perhaps not as they should be?
It started off that my legs swelled up. My legs just ballooned 3 times what they should have been, and this was causing pain. It was causing difficulty to breathe, and this leg, my left leg, was just like a waterfall. It was just rivers just flowing off it. And I went to the A&E 5 times, and they turned me away. He's like, "You're okay, go back home." And I'm like, "I can't breathe, can't walk." And he's like, "No." And so that was one of the early signs of this. So, and also I had massive blisters from my groin to my knees to my ankle on both sides, insides of my legs, because I couldn't walk.
Yeah. So mainly targeted around your legs at that point. It's just
Yes.
and out of nowhere, it just started to happen.
Yeah. There was no warning. I felt fine before that. The doctor, the GP, and the A&E doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong. So I went into a walking centre. In the UK, we have a walking centre. So I went into the walking centre and like, "We can't deal with you because you're complicated." I was like, "Oh, thanks." But then they got me in an appointment with the cardiology people. So I went there and sat down. This is already, my leg's already like this for 4 months already at this point. So I went and sat down, and they just took one look at my legs and they're like, "Right, today you're in hospital." And that started my whole 1 year in hospital stint.
Which hospital was that?
Well, I alternated. I was in Derby Royal, then I was in Glenfield, then Derby Royal, then Glenfield, then Derby. The reason for Glenfield is because they're the heart specialists, and they discovered that my heart valve wasn't working because it only had 2 parts instead of 3 parts, and so it wasn't pumping the blood around my body, which was causing the water retention on my legs and apparently around my lungs and my heart as well. So, so I had to go there to have my heart valve replaced as well in the midst of all this.
Wow.
So,
So, how did it kind of progress? Did the symptoms develop as you were in hospital, or what was happening?
well, I have another condition. It's another rare condition. It's called MEN1, multiple endocrine neoplasia, and that affects a few things of my body. But one of those is that I've had to have my parathyroids out, and so my calcium levels are up and down. So with this, and then with the heart issue as well, that later created things. But it also opened up so lots of infections. So I was getting infections. It was like I was just going down the list. A's, done those. B's, done those. Okay, go down. Yeah, and so I got sepsis, and so Glenfield wouldn't do the heart valve operation, so they sent me back to Derby. Then they sorted me out, and then they was like, okay, Derby needs, he needs this operation, so they sent me back to get the heart valve operation done. So it was things like the calcium levels, because they'd not heard of that, so they stopped my calcium medicine. So my calcium levels went through the roof. They popped my blisters, because I say I had dinner plate sized blisters, and they popped those when they had the operation. And so I woke up in recovery, and I was like, well, didn't do too good at school, but I'm pretty sure my heart is not down on my legs. My heart is up here because all my legs are bandaged up. And then the nurse came to change the dressings, and I was screaming. The pain was excruciating. And I'm like, be gentle, be gentle. And she's like, I am being gentle. Okay. And, just my legs and my sides were just covered with this dead necrotic skin, which was in the, I found out that was actually eating away my skin and my flesh. So I was, for the 12 months I was in hospital, probably 10 months of that I was bedbound. Yeah.
Did you think you'd lose the legs at some point, or did you have any sort of awareness of how severe it could be?
No, because they didn't realise what I had afterwards. For 3 months, I didn't get diagnosed for 3 months. So they was trying lots of things, like, okay, we'll try this, and nothing worked. But yeah, the pain is excruciating. It is unbelievable. Think of molten lava being poured into your bones. Think of if you've got like toothache, and times that about 1,000, and that's even just a little bit, of the pain, and that was 24 hours, and because my legs were getting eaten away, and my legs were also wasting away, because you have what's called muscle atrophy. Yeah. The nurse comes in and like, you've got muscle atrophy. I was, a trophy, great, I need a trophy. What's it for? My weight, my charm? Like, no, but what you're going through, you deserve a trophy. But it's where your muscles waste away. So my skin and my flesh was getting eaten away, and then there was wasting away. So I couldn't move. I was bedbound and couldn't move. And I said the pain was constant. And if I did sleep, I'd wake up and then within minutes I'd be. I mean, I'm a man, but yeah, you know, when I did the martial arts, I was taught to be macho and strong, and show no emotions, no pain, and all this sort of stuff. But I mean, when I was in the hospital, I would just cry like a baby because it was just so intense, and I'd be begging the nurses, give me something, please. And I was on oxycodone and fentanyl and high doses, and later I found out that because me and my wife we like the police dramas, and the American ones is like every few episodes, man overdosed on fentanyl, man overdosed on oxycodone, and I'm like, ah. But because of what I was going through, my body was able to take high levels of that, but I take it, and then within minutes I'm like, okay, I need some more, but like, we can't, because if we give you more, you'll overdose. So
what was the toll on your mental health? Were there was any point where you thought, I'm done with this?
Yes, I had. I begged for my life just to finish some days. Some days was, and seeing how it affects my wife and my 4 kids. It got to the stage where my kids didn't want to even come and see me because they didn't want to see skeletal dad. And because I was there, and I was constantly getting infections as well on top of everything as well. That still continued. And it's just, you just want the pain to stop. You just want the pain to go away. You just want, okay, my legs were covered with this dead necrotic skin, but the pain, constant pain, and the constant is just at night time. And because of that, and because I was getting infections, I was in the room by myself for most of that time. And so see, just 5 minutes with the doctor. Nurses come in, take your blood pressure, take your blood, do that. And the people come give you food. And you add that all together, it's probably about an hour. So I had 23 hours on my own because I had COVID as well. They gave me, I got COVID in the hospital. So there's times when even my wife couldn't come and visit me. And I was just on my own, and it just, and especially at night, it just messes with your head so much. And there's times when I was in so much pain I wanted the pain to end. I didn't want to die, but I wanted the pain to end. But there's also I decided early on that I made a deliberate choice that I would, whereas I could I would smile and be happy, and I would be nice to the doctors and nurses because they're just doing their job. I mean, if I had them shouting at them, then it's. I mean, there were a couple of times when, because super painful, but it was painful when they took off the bandages, painful when they cleaned it, painful when they put it back on, new dressings on. So I'd be screaming. And there's one time, the nurses, the sister came running in. Oh, it's just you, Kev, doing your legs. We wondered what was happening. So they got used to me screaming. But I chose to be nice and to smile and to even joke as much as I could. And sometimes it was like, okay, I'm not doing this. But it wasn't an easy choice.
So I guess at this point it'd be nice to say, and then I got better. Ultimately, that's not where it goes just yet.
Not yet, no.
So maybe just take us through the first time you essentially died.
Yeah, so they finally diagnosed me with calciphylaxis. It took me ages to pronounce that, calciphylaxis. And the mortality rate of that is 98%. And yeah, so 2% chance of survival if you've got it mild. And I was very, very severe because it was on my body, my legs and my sides, and it was spreading. And boy, did it kill me. It did kill me. Not once, but twice. The first time was quite soon after I just had my heart valve done. I was still in in recovery, and as I say, I kept getting infections. So my body just gave up. My heart gave up, and yeah, that was the first time I died, and it was. You've seen Star Trek or Star Wars when they're zooming through space and the stars are zooming past you, like it was that, but very vivid colours. It was amazing, and so I'm like, well, okay, and I see this figure, and I'm like, am I in heaven? Have I died? Am I in heaven? And even though I didn't see the face, the face. The person was radiant and glowing, and I recognised that it was Jesus Christ. And he said to me, "No, you're not in heaven. This is like a halfway house." Okay. And then he turned to me and said, "It's not your time to die. I've still got things for you to do." And I thought, "Whoa, okay." And then I was sent back into my body. And the nurses there was like, "Oh, we're so glad you've come back, because we're trying to bring you back around and resuscitate you, but we couldn't. Nothing was working." Okay, thank you. So that gave me a lot of courage, a lot of strength, and I shared that with my wife. And my wife she struggled at first, coming to see me, deteriorating and getting worse and worse. So she struggled. Is this the day my husband's going to die? Is this the day my kid's father's going to die? So it was emotionally, it was just devastating. But then I shared this with her, and she also prayed, and God encouraged her that, just trust me, Kevin's in my hands. So she started to pray, and then she got other people praying, and soon people all around the world were praying, which was amazing, because a lot of them I don't even know who they were. They just like, okay, we need to pray for Kevin, so they prayed. So that was the first time I died, and so even though Jesus had promised that I would not die, my condition didn't get any better at that point. It didn't, the pain didn't get any less, and it was still spreading, so it was still getting worse. I was still getting infections, and also because of the wounds, because you've got the dead skin, then you've got wounds underneath, they would often bleed. And the second time was about 4 months after that of the first time. So it was about 4 months, and I was in bed, and obviously I was in bed, and my wife was like, "What's this?" And she looked, and my bed was just covered in blood, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't feel it. I didn't even realise I was bleeding, but I was bleeding 2 parts of my leg and 1 on my side, so 3 places, and it was just gushing out. It was so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just bleeding. They would come bandages, and soak straight away, sodden with blood, and then come. They even got nappies because they absorbed more. So they tried that, wouldn't do that. They tried medicines, wouldn't do that. Everything they tried, they tried to stop the bleeding, but they just couldn't, and it was just constant, for 3 days, and I died again sometime at that point. I don't quite know when, and I was, my spirit had left my body, and I wasn't like, ooh, there's my body, ooh. It wasn't quite like that, but I could see my body. I was aware of what was going off. I knew it was in and out of the room. I could see that. I could know that, and I knew it was serious. But from the first time, I was like, okay, I'm peaceful because God Himself had promised that I would be okay. so people, my wife was getting people to pray, and I said Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was just constant bleeding. And they had to put in 5 pints of blood, and the human body only takes about 10 pints of blood. So, yeah. And I was just watching what was going off. Time runs differently. So physically, it was Friday, Saturday and Sunday. But when I was with Jesus, it just seemed a moment. And then the doctors got to the point, it's like, we can't do anything else. We can't stop this. We've done everything medically possible that we can do to stop this bleeding, and it's just not happening. And again, they told my wife, let him go, let him die with dignity, because we can't do anything. And that was on the Sunday, and at that point, it was like, yeah, that was it. And God stepped in. God stopped the bleeding straight away, and I known that we'd been in a tremendous battle, physical and spiritual battle all weekend, and I knew I'd won. It was like, this is it, right? I'm healed. I believed I was healed at that point, and I was like, okay, I'm tired, so closed my eyes, went back to sleep. Then Monday morning, I'm like, hi nurse, how you doing? And they're like, what? I was this weekend, how can you be like this? And I'm like, yeah, why not? But I still had, the bleeding had stopped, but I still had the calciphylaxis on my legs, the dead skin. I still had infections, but I knew that I was healed. And from that time, the dead skin started to come off. The wounds started to heal up. I had to learn to sit up and stand and then walk. And it was difficult. The physio was like with my legs, and I'm like, it's causing a lot more pain. But it's like, if I don't do this, you'll not walk properly. You walk with a limp, or you'll walk, lopsided or something like that. So they're like, and I was like, okay. But and I had to train myself day by day to sit up, stand, take a few steps. So the physical healing took a lot longer. So the big bleed was June, and then I was discharged in September. But I still continued having my legs dressed as the wounds shrank and got healed, as the dead skin came off. I still had to learn, keep walking, and I can walk a little bit now. I still can't walk miles and miles. I can do the stairs slowly. If I walk for a long time or I stand for a long time, then I get some discomfort. But I'm also, because I was dependent. I wouldn't say I was an addict, but I was certainly dependent on the oxycodone and the fentanyl, and I've come off that. I had withdrawal symptoms. I was like shaking and sort of for 2 weeks. I was sort of a bit out of it. But I'm off all the painkillers now. I don't really have pain. I have a bit of discomfort now and again, especially if I'm walking a long distance or if I'm standing for too long. But yeah, so the doctors and the nurses said that I went back to see them, and they're like, you shouldn't be here. And I'm like, what do you mean? I come to see you. And like, no, you got me wrong. He's like, you shouldn't be here because you died. You should be dead. You shouldn't be alive. And they call me the miracle man because what I came through is nothing short of a miracle. And yes, it's strengthened my faith in God. You know, my faith level is risen exponentially. Big words, but it's yeah. I know God is real and God can still heal people, and God has healed a lot of within the family as well. The first week I came back, the kids were still very afraid. Oh, is Dad okay? Is he not okay? But once they saw that, no, he's home, he's improving, they relaxed, and the atmosphere in the house changed drastically. And over the time, I was in the hospital 21 to 2022, and since that time, you know, there's been a lot of healing within the family as well. Sort of me physically, but also emotional healing, and just restoring, you know, getting rid of fear, things like that. So
It's really powerful, mate. What are you setting your sights on for the next sort of chapter of your life? What are you excited about, or feel like what are you going to do?
well, I want to tell people my story because one, it's a super rare condition. It's calciphylaxis. Yeah, even the doctors didn't know what it was, and they had to find out. So I want to promote awareness about that. I want to give hope for those that do have calciphylaxis, because, as I say, it's a 98% mortality rate. So I'm like, well, there are people that have survived. And two is that God is a healer, you know, and He can heal people with cancer. He can heal people with calciphylaxis, you know, and everything around that as well, or whatever. So one of the things that I saw is that you know, from the Bible, is that we're called children of the resurrection. We can have that power of God. You know, we can have God's power working in us because we're His children. So I wrote a book, Countdown to Flatline, which will be released April 22nd. So Countdown to Flatline by Kevin Hill. You can have a look for that. But I want to go around telling people, I want to go around sharing my story, churches, events, and just talk to people, share with people that miracles still happen. You know, I mean, mine was the extreme, and I would not have chose it. Let's see, what shall I have? I love that one. No, it's definitely not what I would have chosen, but I've come through, and I want to tell people that, you know, God is alive and God does miracles. You know, so that's my next chapter. In the UK, abroad, I'm looking to get the book translated into different languages as well. But yeah, I want to do some meetings. I want to come and talk and share. Because this is just a short interview, but there's so much more happened. Even a lot more is in the book, but even there's a lot more that's not in the book as well. But yeah, that's my next bit, is just to share my story and say, look, God is real. So
Thank you for that, mate.